Welcome to parts number 5 of the Mega Man 2 No Damage run. It's time to take on Heatman. Now Heatman, he's actually pretty easy. However, his stage, not so much. It has one of the worst disappearing blocks that plague the classic series. It has one of the worst of those of any Mega Man game. The only one I consider to be worse is the one in Mega Man 3 in Magnet Man's stage. This one, it practically requires you to memorize it. And on your first time through, you're not gonna make it because it's pretty much designed to make you fail, but we'll get to that in a little bit. As I said earlier, the Metal Blade can't kill every single enemy in the game. There's a few enemies that are immune to it, it just bounces right off them. So those enemies right there that crawl on the floor, I pull out the bubble, or the bubble lead I think it's called, and I just 2 shots and I think they're down. They're no big deal, but at least the Metal Blade doesn't kill everything in the game. At least some enemies are immune to it, so it's not as broken as it could be. I mean, it could be a lot worse if it had more ammo and it killed every single enemy, but it's already the best weapon in the game, and you should abuse it because, to be honest, the Metal Blade is so fun to use. I love using the Metal Blade. It's just fun. That's the best word for it. You can kill everything and you just feel awesome. Now here's the block puzzle I was talking about. You have to memorize it. There's no way of getting around it. There's a few spots where if you don't jump quick enough, another block will appear above you and it'll make you fall into the bottomless pit. So you just gotta learn that puzzle. It's not the most complex thing ever, but it'll cause you a few problems until you get the hang of it. But once you do, you should have no problem doing it every single time. It's pretty simple, but it can be tricky, so watch out for it. Now we're moving on to Heatman, and Heatman is pretty simple, especially with his weakness. The only attack you really need to worry about is this attack where he shoots out 3 distinctive fire things, and they go in this strange pattern. You kind of have to jump between them. It's difficult to explain, but if you do a few practice runs with him, you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly. And if you use the bubble, or the lead bubble, then you'll have no problem killing him very quickly. I think it takes, what, 3 shots? So, yeah, he's a pretty simple boss. He's one of the easier bosses in the challenge. Although, pretty much all of the bosses are really simple with their weaknesses. That's the thing with some of these earlier Mega Man games, is that pretty much all of the bosses are a joke with their weakness. There are a few exceptions, but bosses with their weaknesses, they won't start getting harder until some of the later games in the Mega Man series, but we'll get to those later. Anyways, up next is Woodman.